off, and the next get 10% off. But you build, it's kind of like a line builder, and then you cut it off at like the 10th person in the line, and everybody else pays full price. And you've already
Yeah.
built the momentum, and hopefully the outcome is that you've got this entire line for the rest of the day. I really like this number 2 idea, by the way.
Hey.
Yeah, number 2 is great. I think it could be, so I think it can be done today. It's not packaged though. I don't think it's packaged. All right. Welcome to a special episode of In the Future. This is part of our, series, but the only difference here is that you'll notice Max and myself are in 2 different locations. We're both traveling, so we're both in hot weather and a little sweaty, but we're ultimately coming down from a trip. Well, Japan, actually, Max is coming back from a trip from Japan. And on his trip, it's a very long flight, he actually started thinking about these 9 different ideas for idea time, right? Idea time, Max?
That's right.
Yep, for idea time. And so what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to try to cover just the high level of what those ideas are, because we want to select one to go deeper into in a following episode. So go ahead, Max. We're going to try to cover most of it. Hopefully we can within the next 25 minutes. But I'll let you go ahead and kick it off, and let's start going through these ideas and anything else you want to say.
Okay, let's dive in. So again, just to frame it up, so none of these are really vetted. It was just a really long flight back home. And that's one of the things to a lot of people ask me, what's a good way to come up with ideas? One of the best ways to come up with ideas is just to change your environment. And it feels like on this really long flight, sure, ideas just kind of started pouring out. So I made a note of some of them. Let's see what you think about these. Feel free to stop me, ask some questions. Let's dive in. So idea number 1. This one's a little bit wonky. I thought I would just start with this one. So one of the things on like an 18-hour flight to and from Japan, one of the best pieces of advice that people share is wear compression socks. You've heard that before, right?
Yeah. For circulation in your feet or legs.
Yeah, for circulation, it tightens your legs, so it makes the blood flow to the right spots. So I was thinking, and then like in Japan, people are really careful about their skin. They're really mindful about it. And so one of the things that clicked in my mind was, again, this one's a little weird. So here I wrote down mummy wraps for you to wrap yourself at home for a full body wrap, kind of like aloe, right? And so you take the idea of what like the circulation benefits of compression socks, and then you get a wrap that actually has like aloe on the inside of it, or like a skin lotion behind it. And then you kind of do it yourself. You wrap your arms, you can wrap your legs, and then just see hey, is your skin shinier? Is it better? Are you feeling good as a result? I think it's just funny to visualize as well. Just you're kind of
home, people are wrapped
yourself
up
at home. Yeah.
Yeah. Watching TV, you're just kind of wrapped up face head to toe. So I think, does this not exist already? I don't know. I feel like people definitely do body wraps.
Yeah.
I know they're not
really vetted, but you could do this at home. I could obviously see this being like a salon kind of thing, or like a spa treatment. But
what's the benefit?
Really popular. The benefit is again, you get the compression benefit, and you get a full body kind of skin lotion. And honestly, I think just adding on top of it, you get the snug feeling, right? Gravity blankets. That's their whole benefit, is that you feel snug as a bug.
I feel like you need people. I feel like you need some assistance to get wrapped up like that, though. I don't know if you could do it by yourself. You could do your arms. How are you gonna? I guess you could do a little bit of your body. I don't know. I just feel like maybe you could do it kind of not perfectly. That might work.
Yeah.
But I feel like it might need some assistance. I see where you're going, though. The opportunity. I think this exists, but we'll check it out. We'll look into it maybe later on this call.
Cool.
What's another idea?
Okay, so this one, this is a combination of an idea that I had a decade ago, but also one of the things on my trip to Japan that I noticed was, as a tourist, you don't really know where to go and eat. Right? You could check, Google reviews, you could check Swarm if anybody still uses that. But a lot of people just rely on visual cues, right? Where you're walking down the street, which food truck are you going to go to? Most likely you're going to go to the one that has a queue in front of it, right? Or a line. A row of people that act as social proof, right? They're standing in front of the truck. They're just as eager. You're okay, yeah, I'll check this out. I'm not going to get poisoned at this one, or at least I'll get poisoned just like these other 50 people that are standing in front of me.
Yeah, sheep mentality, yeah.
Sheep mentality. And net, people are attracted to places that have a crowd, right? It's that social proof that you're looking for when you're searching for a place to eat. So the idea is, okay, you get in this app, and I broke it down into basically like two types of users. Number one are, let's say I have a food truck. I have a slow Wednesday 11 a.m.
Mhm.
Time, right? And I want to fill that. If you go into the app, Spencer's food truck, the first 10 people who get in the app, they get a discount. You get 20% off of tacos or whatever you're into making. The people, and that's just to build up the initial queue, right? That you're the social proof crowd. The people behind you who are looking for a place to eat in like a new city, they don't necessarily need to get any perks. They're kind of just like the regular customers, but they're being promoted on the app because it already has people in front of it.
Interesting. So yeah, so there's a dynamic aspect. So it's like this would be kind of almost like a marketing solution sort of. It's you have no line, you opened up, maybe you send, I don't know if like it's some sort of push notification or you're local, because you're around and it says Spencer's Tacos, you're going to get 50% off if you go right now. Then maybe the next bunch, and I'm making this part up, you didn't mention this part, maybe the next like three or four, if you have a queue that's growing, get only 20% off, and the next get 10% off. But you build, it's kind of like a line builder, and then you cut it off at like the 10th person in the line, and everybody else pays full price. And you've already
Yeah.
built the momentum, and hopefully the outcome is that you've got this entire line for the rest of the day. I really like this number two idea, by the way. Um,
Hey.
yeah, number two is great. I think it could be so. I think it can be done today. Not it's not packaged though. I don't think it's packaged. I think there are technological solutions out there that can make you do this, but I don't think there's like an out of the box thing that's like, oh, get this up and running with your app and like start driving people into a line, because it kind of has a marketing play to it, right? Because it not only push notifications, it could be emails too, right? It's like, hey, um, you're on your way to work, or we know that you're subscribed. Like, come join the line for 30% off. Cool. I like this one. I would start this one. Asterisk this one.
Nice, nice. For off topic, for some reason when you said nice, nice, I like this one. It made me think of like Dave Portnoy, where he talks about when he rates the pizza slices. He's like, yeah, I like this
Yeah,
one. I like this one. This
I
is
like this one. Yeah,
8.9,
yeah, yeah.
8.9.
8.9 random. Yeah, random point, decimal point added to it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, okay. Okay. So we'll
Arbitrary. Yeah.
bookmark number two as of now. Okay. Number three. So let me read my note here. Okay. So what? What are we? We're approaching December, right? We just
Mhm.
passed Thanksgiving. We're approaching Christmas time. Um, One of the things that I notice is on a lot of blocks, there's basically two types of houses. There's the houses that are very into Christmas lights. They're very into decorating for like every single holiday. They put something up, and then there's the houses that are just like dark, right? They don't really care about it. And it made me wonder, and I guess there's the third one. There's people who go really nuts with the decorations, like the 20-foot skeleton for Halloween, uh, Christmas lights that have like the moving reindeer and everything. And then somewhere in the middle, there's like regular people like me and you who are just like, okay, we'll put up a couple of lights, like some strings.
Yep.
And then there's still those people who don't do it at all. And it made me wonder, like, why don't those people do it at all? Right? Because everyone wants to be kind of like that house that stands out with the decorations. Like everyone comes and takes photos in front of your house. They're just like they're
Not
just walking.
not everybody wants that attention though.
Maybe not, but hear me out. So like
Okay. Yeah.
maybe not everyone wants that attention. That could be it. That could be part of it. But you kind of like you feel the pride, right? Like you're doing it. You set it up. Like everyone kind of the kids walk by and they smile when they're next to the house. There's like some benefit from it.
There
So
is this kind of like society, this kind of we call it like societal ambiance you're creating. That's like a
yeah,
happy mood for everybody,
yeah,
and you feel good
exactly.
about it. I was like, look at that. Like the kids love looking at their house. Yeah.
Yeah, adults too. I would say.
Adults too.
And
Yeah.
so like everyone wants to be like that house that stands out with the decorations, but no one wants to do the work to become that house. That's part one. Part two of why I think people don't want to do it is, well, you gotta store all of those things. Like you gotta store the 20-foot skeleton. You gotta store the giant blow up Santa Claus and all of his reindeer that are going to be on your property. And so
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason that people don't go all out for those things. But if you subscribe to the fact that there's some segment of society that wants to be that house that are currently not capable of doing it, either because safety, like I don't want to string up my house and like get a 20-foot ladder to do that. Storage, I don't want to do that. It's also expensive to buy all of those things. Like
Mhm.
a 20-foot skeleton is like $300. Um, and so, okay, how do we bridge that gap, right? If we subscribe to the fact that people want to be that house, but there's some reasons why they don't, why they aren't that house every holiday season, I think there's a very interesting kind of like side hustle that people, or even a business that people can get into here, where like you and I, let's say, have a shed that we use for storage. We knock on the doors and we say, hey, pay us I don't know, $300, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And we will come in and we will string up the house. We will blow up that Santa Claus on your property. You'll pay us to put that for you. You could be that it house that everyone gravitates towards. You could feel good about your property. And then we'll even come and we'll take it away when the holiday season's over, right? Like,
Mhm.
obviously you want it off your property. And so that's kind of it. It's sort of like I heard this idea like some version of this on My First Million, which is a podcast that I listen to frequently,
Yeah,
and
I
they
know
like
them. Yeah.
they positioned this sort of like as a blue collar side hustle. But I totally agree with it. I think there's a huge untapped market for this
I
for
was gonna
all
say,
kinds of holiday seasons.
I'm so surprised this doesn't already exist. It's insane. Like it's such an opportunity. Um, yeah, I think it would actually be very successful, especially in suburbia and big metropolitan areas for sure. Even like people that already do it, they probably would be like, oh, you know what, like why not? I can pay the professionals because the ones that traditionally, I guess I'd say the ones that don't traditionally go nuts with their house might pay somebody who's an expert and a professional at it and may end up looking better than the person who does it themselves every year. And now that person's like, oh no, I'm paying those guys to do mine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's very
Yeah,
cool.
solid.
Okay, cool. So bookmark that one as well.
Yep.
Ready for the next one?
Yep. Number
Okay,
four.
number four,
Four
right?
out of
Okay.
nine.
When I okay, so coming coming back from Japan or any trip really, do you have any plants at home?
Yeah, yeah, I have plans.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how your green thumb is, but every single time
Solid.
we come back to the house, most of the plants are dried up, shriveled, some are dead. That's
Yeah.
kind of like if you go away for 2 weeks or like 3 weeks. How do
That's
you
what I'm doing
maintain that?
now.
Yeah,
Well, I actually bought something on Amazon. I don't know if it's actually what your idea here
probably not.
is.
Probably not.
Okay. Oh, because it's like human, it involves a human.
No, but tell
All
me,
right,
tell
I'll
me what
just tell
your
you
thing
what I
is.
bought.
Is it is
Yeah, I'll
is
just
it
tell you
that
what I bought.
releases water slowly?
No, so it's not those bulbs. It's basically
Okay.
I have a bucket of water and it's a pump that on a timer, I have like this like little plastic tube that sprays all my plants.
Oh, I
Like
missed
I
it.
think
That's
it's every
interesting.
12 hours. Every 12 hours, my plants get sprayed with like
Okay.
for about 30 seconds. So it's a timer. It's a window of time. So 30 seconds, they get sprayed with water every 12 hours. And I'm hoping it's the first time I do it. I go back and they're alive or not looking sad. So it's a
Yeah,
gamble.
we're gonna need to follow up on that and see if they
Yeah.
died.
Next
Um,
episode
so,
when we do this one, you'll know. Yeah.
so okay, so yeah, there's like some solutions. There's the bulb which we used, and it just like it runs out of water eventually, or like it gets plugged with the dirt. The other one is
Yeah.
just like self misting. But overall, and that's just like part of the why your plants die or why they get sick experience of that's like the experience of owning a plant, right? It could be thriving one day and then it could just be sick for whatever reason. And people get very attached to their plants. I've noticed
Mm-hmm.
from my own experience as well.
Yeah.
You kind
Super.
of feel like responsible for it. Like you're sad when it dies or it gets sick, and you try to go online. You're like, oh, how do I fix this thing? Or you call the place that you ordered the plant from, and they're like, here's some advice. But sometimes you just need a professional, and that's kind of what this idea is. And so I think that one of the things that at least I haven't seen is an on-demand plant doctor. And what I'm visualizing is so when I used to work at Mercedes Benz, we used to sell Sprinter vans, Mercedes Benz Sprinter
Mm-hmm.
vans, and these were
Yeah.
like very very like cool vans, stylish. You could outfit them inside however you want. We had a lot of different small businesses that would use those vans for like on demand veterinary care, on demand X, on demand like bicycle repair, whatever it is. What I'm visualizing is a Sprinter van on demand plant doctor. This person will come. You're like, you call them or you go on the app and you say, hey, this plant is dying. I need you to save its life. This person will come and they'll wait downstairs. You'll bring the plant down. They'll put it in their truck and they'll like analyze it. They'll be like, okay, it actually needs
You can
this.
save it, or
It's kind of
yeah.
like an easy fix. Or where I think the real money is, they take it back to their own little store or their own little warehouse, and they nurse it. They nurse it back to health. So they take it back to its nursery and they save your plant, and then they bring it right back to you. So it's plant doctor on demand. What do you think?
That's this is a great. I love this idea too. I had to Google to see if it was a thing already. This is amazing. Plant doctor. Yeah, there's not.
No,
There's
I actually
not.
have not looked this up.
There's not. Nothing that's easily popping up. Plant
Nice,
doctor,
nice.
doctor demand. You know what it is? I think so. I love the idea. It's surprising it's not around. My only concern, and we don't have to get into this now because if we choose this one, we can go deeper into it. What's the demand look like? Again, that's not. I know that we're thinking creative here. We're not thinking from like a business perspective. That's my only like gut reaction is like, if I have this business or side hustle, maybe it's a side hustle, just like the other one. It's got a sprinter van, and I work a full time job. And if somebody needs help with their plan, I go out there. Maybe it's that type of thing. But anyway, I like this one. Really good.
Yeah, thank you. To the point about demand, one of the things that we saw, just like let's look at the like supply side of it, right? One of the things
Yeah.
that we saw during COVID was people bought a lot of plants. People were stuck
Mm-hmm.
inside their house, and it was depressing. They're like, "Oh, I got to get some
Yep.
plants in here to like brighten my mood a little bit." The other thing that's
Totally.
happening that I kind of find fascinating is people are having kids later. And as a
Mm-hmm.
result, this is just my spin on it, but I think biologically, at like in your 30s, late 20s, you get that like biological need to want to take care of something. And people either
Yeah.
resort to getting a cat or a dog or a plant. Plant is that
Mm-hmm.
low maintenance thing. But
Yeah. Yeah.
most people don't have a green thumb. And like we've purchased maybe, I don't know, like half a dozen plants in the last 3 years. I would say like four of them have not survived. Two of them I've successfully nursed back to health, and like we just got another
Good.
one. And we've gone through the steps of like calling Bloomscape, I think was the name of the like delivery company that delivered the plant to us. They gave us some
Mm-hmm.
advice, but it didn't quite work. You go online, you start reading about it, but sometimes when you're attached to something, you just want to pay to take care of it and for someone
Oh,
to take care of it and
100%.
bring it back to health. Yeah. And if it's not a high
100%.
price, I think people would. I think people would. And like as I would market it as your first plant half off or your first plant, free. Or first evaluation definitely free. Maybe the nursery will take it back for you as paid. Right?
Yeah, totally, totally. It could be a good start.
Okay.
All right,
Cool.
let's go to number 5, just for the sake of time.
Okay, number 5. Okay, so this one this is one of the ideas that I actually did dive into from a previous trip, but it kind of it refreshed my memory coming back from Japan. So my wife creates a lot of like itinerary items, like so like she does a whole spreadsheet before we go somewhere, like places to eat, places
Mhm.
to see, things like and then like we know after doing them what we loved, what we would recommend to friends. Like Japan is a perfect one. A lot of people are going to Japan and they're like, oh, what would you recommend? We're like, well, we would definitely recommend Mount Fuji. We would recommend hiking this
Mhm.
thing. We would recommend eating at these 5 places. And
Mhm.
this idea actually started when I came back from New Orleans a couple of years back, and I remember creating some slides around it. At the time, I called
Mhm.
it Hot Tips. It was called Hot Tips.fyi, just like because that was like the
That
domain that
was
was
your
available.
name.
That was
Okay,
my name
hot
for it, yeah.
tips.
And it was essentially you're able to share hot tips with people of like, yeah, like you're going to this music festival in New Orleans, like Jazz Fest.
Yep.
Definitely get a poncho from this vendor because they charge half the price than the other one. When you're going
Yeah.
to New Orleans, instead of waiting, there was like this pastry shop that had like a tremendous line outside of it that went for like a mile, but nobody knew that you could actually go around and just skip the entire line and just go and sit down at the table and somebody will wait on you and like
So
serve you.
these type of tips, right?
And sorry, let me just get it out. And so like in New Orleans, the reason this idea came up, it was actually standing in that line for the pastry shop. This random dude on the street, like the shirt that I was wearing. And he's like, "Yeah, you seem cool. Let me give you guys a piece of advice. Let me give you a hot tip." I think is actually what he said. He's like, "You
We'll
can
give
actually
you a
just go
hot
in,
tip.
skip this line, go take a seat." And as a New Yorker, I was like, I don't know, man. Why don't you like show me the table and then one of us waits in line and then we'll see. And it ended up being legit. We skipped the entire line. We were done. We were being waited on. We ate all the pastries, and that was just like a hot tip that I've shared with dozens of people who've been to New Orleans afterwards.
That's so I like that story, but then let me ask you this, or unless you have more to add to like what
I have
how
more to add. The actual
yeah.
idea is so like Hot Tips is
Yeah,
part
yeah.
of it. It's like a website where like like people essentially like you can become micro influencers where you're like I travel a
Yep.
lot. Here's the hot tips for places where you're going that I recommend. But really the idea is selling your itinerary after you come back from your trip. Like you could sell your
Mhm.
entire spreadsheet. You could sell like your comments on it. Other people who have then followed it say thumbs up it or thumbs down it. That's essentially the idea.
Okay. Okay. Now, how would you compete? And not to get too deep into it, I'm going to add just this statement, and then we move on to the next one. How would you compete with a TripAdvisor slash Google reviews?
Yeah.
Google
I'm
reviews, I
trying to
can
remember.
actually. There's no real tips there, really, but like TripAdvisor is really the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I wrote on these slides. Let's see. For Google reviews, I think what happens is businesses that bring revenue to Google get promoted to the top of the list, and so
Okay.
it's not about. So like that's part of the flaw. For TripAdvisor, if I'm remembering correctly, what happens in TripAdvisors in terms of comments, people leave comments about the I think about the employees. Like at a hotel, they're like, "Oh, this person was great," or like some. I think it was more focused on that, and it wasn't really focused on like professional tips on how to like bypass the line or like
Hmm.
where you should shop for certain things. Like things that we know that you would recommend to a friend aren't really
Yeah.
popping up on TripAdvisor. And so I
Okay.
remember there was being some like gap in the market that was very interesting, but I would just start it friend to friend, man. I'd be like, man, all these people a couple of years ago, everybody was going to Iceland and everyone was sharing tips about what to check out, what are like the secret tips. Japan is now that market. Everyone's going to Japan because it's cheaper, and everyone I'm seeing is like sharing advice with each other. So I think there's something there about like and sharing a nice, organized, structured itinerary, things that people can comment on that they can then upvote, downvote, and like really flesh out so that you, as the next traveler, have just this amazing experience that's been curated and most importantly, social proofed by people that you trust.
Okay. So that spin makes sense. I would. All right, we have to get a little bit deeper into that one, but I do. There is a more humanizing aspect about it that I like. And I just think I want to check if this one's out there. What comes to mind is like more of Instagram pages, but it might not be the same, which is called like Secret NYC and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
let's just move on from it and come back to it.
Okay. Do you like that one? Where do you scale that and where do you rate it compared to the other
I put
ones?
it in the middle because I think it's out there somewhere.
Okay,
I
cool.
think the demand is somewhere out there, but I could be proven wrong.
Okay. All right, on to the next one. This one I gave very little thought to, but I just thought it was fascinating, and it's an idea that keeps popping up. So I use the Peloton app
Yeah.
for stretching, for meditation, for obviously the bike. But the meditation one is what's most interesting to me. So
Hmm.
meditation is just like we both agree, like it's just like a fantastic tool to have in your tool belt for like just controlling your life, like your emotions, your anxiety, your stress. It's just great for it.
Hmm.
Something like Peloton is very gated, like by definition, it's a paid app, but they have great content. What I'm realizing though is there's a real need for society to have like well curated, well made meditation apps, maybe even personalized to you, right? Like maybe you like a particular female voice or like an accent, or you want you gravitate towards like a more upbeat type of music, or different mantras. And so I think with AI being as popular as it is, I would do this if I was just like coming up with this idea from scratch. So like, how do you build AI generated meditation for the masses, right? I would if somebody's sweeping the house, what does that sound?
Oh, it's outside on the street.
Oh, okay, okay. Sounds like
Yeah,
someone is like sweeping the street
even
next to you.
though I'm 8 floors above the street. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you create AI generated meditation for the masses? I would do this. I would use AI to, number one, create a script of just like someone talking, like a guided meditation. Like, okay, today we're gonna do meditation for anxiety, how to reduce anxiety, and it's just gonna be a script for a 10-minute meditation. You have the text. Then I would say, okay, I need to layer some calm music to play in the background during this. Okay,
Mhm.
then I would layer, I need somebody to actually speak it, like an AI bot to speak it in an Australian accent, because that's what, calms me, for example. And you layer all of those things, and now you can just pump out like 10-minute audio only YouTube videos that anybody can access on their phone for free. And you can gravitate towards, like, you can get very specific with the keywords. Like, I want Australian accent. I
So
want
are you the
emo. I want
creator?
male.
You're almost you become the creator of as the consumer of this idea. I'm the creator of the YouTube video of the content.
That's an interesting spin. That's not what I was thinking. I was thinking that
Okay.
like we are a YouTube channel. Like I am a YouTube channel, and I just have like thousands of videos that you could search and filter by very like curated keywords. But I like
Oh,
that
I
idea.
misunderstood that. Okay, but okay. So I misunderstood. I gotcha. You're saying this is an established YouTube channel already,
This will be. This
or like
doesn't exist yet.
it will be. No, no. I mean, yeah. Sorry. That's yeah. Exactly. It hasn't been created. The idea is that this would be a YouTube channel with this established. Like basically, it's like why not be the? It's like kind of a content creation hustle
Mhm.
where it's like, hey,
Yeah.
go ahead and create, pump out meditation because everybody finds it super valuable. Why not find you can pump out a ton of meditation videos that people are going to find valuable in all sorts of voices, sounds that are calming, and engage with different things that they want to work on. I actually think this is a great idea. Quick to get saturated by competitors because a lot of people can start this up very easily. But I think it's an incredible idea that it's like a missed opportunity. Even if you want to monetize content, to be honest, it's one way to do it. Quickly create content, like bust it out, keep busting it out. People are kind of doing this with affiliate marketing today. Like there's kids that just go on AI and they create a video for a product with a unique affiliate link. This is like a more positive spin on that, where you create some meditation content that you can maybe monetize if you build a big enough audience.
Yeah, yeah, and also like I mean, there's something interesting about you what you said, where it's like you're kind of building your own, but I would argue against that for in one important way. I would say people will gravitate towards the videos that have social proof behind them. So like it has thousands of views, it has a lot of thumbs up. That's what I tend to go towards.
Yeah,
Or if you like creating your own, you don't know if it'll work yet. But there's something really cool about that aspect as well. I like it.
yeah. This could go all sorts of ways. I mean, from the baseline elementary idea, I like the thought. I like this. Um, but I think we should move on to the next few because we're already at the 30-minute mark.
I don't know. We're
I
at
may
30
want to
minutes.
explore that. Yeah,
I wonder. I
we,
wonder if we wrap it here and we
you don't
just keep
want to.
it
You
to
don't want
these.
to these. Okay, okay. Which one are you thinking?
You tell me. So okay. So like yeah, we have 7, 8, 9 that are left. We could. I don't think we're gonna get enough time for them. Let's keep the audience wanting more.
Okay,
Let's not get into those. And so like out of
okay.
these six, I think you tell me which ones were your favorites. Narrow it down, and then from there,
Meditation, plant doctor, and line filler, Q filler,
meditation, plant doctor, Q filler. Okay,
or like
okay,
line
okay.
filler, like business line filler.
You don't like to decorate the house one?
Oh, I do. Yeah, yeah. I really like that one too. Yeah, yeah.
Ah, okay. So the one that you really aren't gravitating towards is the mummy wrap one, which I can sort of understand as
The
well.
mummy wrap one we can drop, in my opinion. And what was the other one?
I think that's it. So like we had mummy wrap,
No,
we had
there's definitely one more. There's one.
we had so let's see, mummy wrap, create a cue to inspire a crowd. We have decorate your house for you. We have plant doctor on demand.
Oh, the hot
Sell your
tips.
hot tips. Yeah, sell your itinerary after your trip,
Yeah.
and then
Sell
meditation.
your itinerary after the trip. I think the four that come to mind are, yeah, exactly, Q filler, plant, meditation, and decoration. I think I'm a plant or the Q filler.
Plant or the
Plant
cue filler.
doctor, plant doctor,
Interesting.
or the
I think
Q
they're both
filler.
interesting. Yeah.
Um, any of those two make you want to?
I think all of the like four that you narrow down have interesting business opportunities. I think like the house decorating one, that's like a cool side hustle that people can like test very quickly. I think hot tips could be it's very interesting, especially as people can do continue to travel more. Plant doctor is just like it, it's a cool one that like I really don't see being tapped at the moment.
at all. The one that I'd say that's the most practical that anybody can go ahead and do, I will say, is the meditation one. That I feel like would be so. It's either practicality or creativity. The meditation one is one that I think we can introduce, and somebody could literally finish the episode and run and do it. So that's kind of driving me towards that one as well. Like it's actually actionable.
Do you think it's so actionable that we shouldn't share it with the world and we should just scrap that from from the
I feel like
recording?
we've kind of given it away though already.
Cool, cool. Anyway, so yeah, those are the ideas that I wrote down on my flight back from Japan. What do you want to
Cool.
do next?
No,
You want to dive
they're
into?
good.
Think about which one you want to dive into next. See if the audience wants to.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Anything
Want to
to
come up
add?
with an answer now? Should we just choose right now before we go off?
No, no. I'll let you
Okay.
think about it, and then you tell me which one you actually want to dive into. I have notes
Okay.
ready to go for all of them. We'll break it down.
All right. Sounds good then. All right. So that's this episode then. Let's wrap it up.
Hey yo,
We'll
this was
catch you
fun.
next time. Peace.